NERDSoul.
Yeah, late ill kid at OneYoungsta, hold it down, bring you that StreetGeek and NERDSoul. What is up, my people? Today, all year, coming with another wonderful episode of Specials, hashtag Black Dads. Happy Father's Day. We're glad you're here. Glad to see y'all. Look. It's been a long time. It's been a long year. All right, you've been doing your thing. You've been holding it down, doing fatherly stuff. So I just want to say thank you. I want to say I love all y'all Black dads out there. Y'all doing y'all thing. Y'all be getting to just do y'all deserve. I just want to say I love all y'all. Thank you for doing what you do. And we are not by ourselves. I have a dope panel this year, just like last year. All right, right over here. All right, Cinematic Sorcerer, Solar Greye, say what's up.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy Father's Day. And when you show this to your kids, I'm just going to say this. The great Chris Rock said before his face was swole up by Will Smith that it's nice if you thank daddy for all the light and all the electricity. It's good to thank him for being there. But really all he wants is the big piece of chicken and the good chair. That's a big piece of chicken, good chair. That's it.
Oh boy. And in the bottom square, we got half of the dynamic duo from the South. Gotta give it to him. Keith Cooper of Blerd-ish. What's up?
What's up? Happy Father's Day out there. I don't know about Chris Rock, but my dad was a very elderly man. He was an older man when he had me. And you damn right, he liked his big piece of chicken. He liked his chair. You better not have sadness. And I like my big piece of chicken too.
Yeah, everything else is a bonus. If you don't give him nothing else, just make sure he got the big piece of chicken, his good chair. That's it. Well, everything else, be like, Daddy, happy Father's Day. Here's your ugly tie. Also, here's your chicken thigh. And I vacuumed the chair for you. I ain't even gonna touch it today.
I'm not even gonna touch it today.
I'm a little bit of new age, I need some nice beer, craft beer that I like,
Not the craft beer though.
Something, give me some, I
like some bougie on us.
And give me some seafood or whatever. I'm in Louisiana, bro. We got the things.
Oh, well, shoot. In that case, forget the big piece of chicken. I'll take a Wagyu steak in the big chicken.
You talk about fancy,
Yeah, it's getting fancy all around here. I'll throw it to Keith first. Is there anything new in fatherhood that you learned this year? Anything new that happened? Anything that you're like, oh yeah, so this is part of being a dad too? Is there anything jumps out to you?
Ain't nothing new, but it's sometimes when you reach your limit that as a Black father, that as a Black man, sometimes people are not accustomed to you, especially sometimes I always say, Keith, you're like a big guy, I'm not a small dude. I'm almost 6 feet. I'm chubby. I might have a scowl on my face, but you know what?
Might have a scowl.
But you know what I do respond to? Communication. Sometimes you got to stand up for things that you need to do, even if it's a little bit. I ain't say go act a damn fool or whatever, or be a running stereotype. But let people know that you have a mind. It should be respected, especially with those close to you. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's the minor things that count. And sometimes people need a little course correction, if you will, to let them respect you. And hey, I respect you too, but respect me as well.
Gotcha. Cool. On to you, Solar.
Anything new I've learned from being a father this year?
Because we're at different stages of fatherhood.
Yeah, we're all at different stages of fatherhood. And one thing I gotta say is, anything new? No, nothing new that I've learned. Okay. A lot of old lessons that continuously need to be practiced, but nothing new. There's nothing new to that book. All right. But see, I learned a long time ago. I have a daughter and I have 3 jobs. Okay. 3 jobs as a father. All right. To give her overall safety. Now, that doesn't mean to protect and fight all of her battles, but give her the tools to fight her own. And second, make sure that she is not a complete douchebag. Wow. And 3, make sure And 3, to make sure that if she ends up on the pole, it's because that's where she wants to be, not because that is her only option. All right.
Cool. Gotcha.
But each one of those things come with a laundry list on how to do it.
Yes.
Each one.
And you really don't know until it's all done. It's like, oh, I messed up. Oh, hey, I did all right.
Oh no, you never really know. You have evidence, but all that can turn on a dime. But yeah, it's like that first one, giving them the tools to look out for themselves and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm at that stage of parenthood that is the hardest part, because it comes after a very long set of practicing, and that is to trust that your kids will bounce back. Now, I only got one, but I'm also the youngest of 4, so it's a different type of parenthood, because by your 3rd or 4th kid, they made out of bungee cord. I mean, we may come off, especially as Black fathers, as the, our kid does something and they hit the ground and they start crying. And being Black in America as a father, inside we got the, no, my son, my boy. But we got to be like, get up. Get up. Life's going to hit you a lot harder than that. And what did we learn? We got that big old thing inside of our hearts going, no, I must wrap them in bubble wrap, and then put that bubble wrap in a safe and put that safe at the bottom of the ocean to make sure that my kid don't get hurt like this again. And it's like, no, there is no growth without pain. And our children never stop growing.
No. I guess this year I'll say, I think the biggest thing I've learned this year is I honestly thought, hey, I'm a patient guy. Yeah, I'm patient. Yeah, I'm a patient guy, y'all. This guy right here, oh, he's patient. Your man is patient right here. So just being, just remembering, like, this person has only been alive for 4 years. Mm-hmm. Like, this person has only been alive for 4 years. And even though it was only 5 more years until you had your first encounter with someone who let you know who you are in America, you still gotta let him be 4. You still gotta, so it's kind of like you said, like how, like that whole thing of like trying to be patient, trying to be like, like, hey, I'm gonna be dead one day, and you gonna have to, I won't be here, mm-hmm. So just trying to figure that out. But yeah, thinking that I was patient and being like, man, I really got to work on my patience, because I thought I was patient. So that's probably the biggest thing this year, is like being like, hey, I thought I was patient. And
well, can I tell you something? Maybe older father to a newer father? Yeah. Can I tell you something? Older father to a newer father?
Go ahead.
Don't beat yourself up. You see, patience isn't not getting mad. Patience is not acting on that mad. Okay. Yes. It takes sainthood to not ever be like, how can you not know that? No, don't put that in your mouth. And I find myself constantly having to go, how does she not know this? Because you haven't taught her yet, dummy. I'm like, all right.
Or the patience of when, considering my case, my son has special needs. He has his routine. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, he gets a routine every time he gets a new tick or a new motion. And he's still, even with his limitations, he's still like a 10-year-old boy, or whatever level or range, but he's still a kid. And he'll look at you like, I'm going to do something. And I look at him like, boy, if you don't get in that bed, then he like, he giggles. He's like, or now it's a new thing where, I got to wrestle him in the bed. Like if I don't, like, he loves it though. He's like, Dad is going to throw me in the bed or wrangle me in the bed, or like, and that's our new routine. Like, He'll look at me, he'll sit on the bed like, and he'll make a noise like a happy noise, be like, ha ha. I'm like, get in the bed. And then sometimes he'll just roll in, like I'm rolling a kid in, like, you know, when they used to roll you into the ring, wrestling ring, and you throw, like how the bad guy throw the good guy, the baby face into the ring. Sometimes I'm kind of like doing it like that, but gentler. Sometimes he'll jump in, or he like, look, I'm tired. Just put me in the bed. I'm okay, all right. So you just never know. They will test your patience to levels, and yes, not acting on it is what is the key. And it's like some days when the world is breaking you down, though. But then there's also that times when, you know, they come up to you and they hug you, and they're looking to you for guidance, and they're looking to you for love, and they're just looking for you to be dad. You know, you're not the villain. You're not an obstacle to them. You're just dad.
And sometimes you're not even the teacher, you know. You're just whatever they see as dad. Like,
exactly.
You know, that's my dad. That's what he does, you know. But yeah, so I can say don't beat yourself up for your lack of patience, because as I said, it does not mean you don't feel those moments of boy, you better. It just means that you can take a minute and be like, all right, is what I want to do the thing that would suit them best overall?
Yeah, this last year was a whole bunch of
yeah.
It's like, and then of course there's this weird like breathing like that. It's like I'm breathing like because of you. but yeah, you get that look like why are you breathing like that? What's wrong with you? It's like I'm trying to breathe out, to breathe, just
the
love and patience. I'm trying to breathe that.
And I just,
this is saving your life. This is saving your life.
I learned this every summer because I work in a library, and then that's where mostly kids come in, you know, throughout the day. And have you ever just sat to yourself, like, why are kids so wiggly? It's just so doing all of this. Why?
And then it's like, was I wiggly?
I don't remember being wiggly. I just don't. But I think I was also, again, older parents. You better sit your ass still. Like, what are you so wiggly today? They just be like, what? They be like, what? Yeah. Oh, why? Why you gotta like this?
Yeah, like wiggly and fidgety. And I'm like, I guess I did. I mean, maybe I just don't remember it. Like,
see, that's the thing. And this is what makes it hard as any parent, mother or father, is it's our job not to forget. Okay. And we're good at not forgetting when it's like, no, I know how long you were in, you know what you put your mother through just to get here, you know, and oh, now you remember. Now, see, I remember when you were 3 years old and you were like, I don't know how to tie my shoes, you know, but now the big thing for us to remember was not, all right. So when my daughter was still in the womb, I had to do a whole lot of soul searching. Whole lot of soul searching. And this is that thing of fatherhood where it's like, no matter what I do, this kid is going to look at me and say, that is how to be a grown-up. And for the first part of their lives, they're going to be like, that is my hero. I want to be just like that. And I had to ask myself two questions. One, if they were just like me, would I be happy or would I want to strangle the little? Damn. Look, I'm just being real. All right. Again, having a daughter, I had to ask myself for a long time if she were to bring home a husband or a wife, you know, because she was born just before the 21st century, but I can see writing on the walls. If she were to bring home a significant other that was exactly like me, and so this is who I want to spend the rest of my life with, would I be like, welcome to the family, or give us the room?
Oh, wow.
If it was the second, then I had to make absolutely sure that I was the type of person that I would be like, welcome to the family. You know, that's that reflection, you know. But
Cool.
over the course of her life, I had to not forget. I was wiggly. I was weird. I was smart. I had an imagination. I could be having a sword fight with 50 billion ninjas with my mononucleic katana. And in my head, I'm doing a quadruple somersault. But what it looks like to every adult is just, I'm just rolling around on the ground and I might be speaking Japanese. And
Oh my God.
every adult can just hear me making grunts in various places. And other things like when I was a kid and my mom would look at me going, boy, what are you thinking? When I said I didn't know, I
really didn't know.
So how can I expect them to? They are half me. And if I didn't know, how am I expecting them to be different? Am I expecting them to be more like their mother? Well, their mother was just like that too. You know?
The rolling on the ground though.
Huh?
It's always the rolling on the ground.
That's what they do. That's what we do.
Now, I actually do remember that. I don't remember being fidgety, but I remember the like tying the towels around my neck for a cape. I remember that. So like that stuff, like even today, me and the little guy, we put on our Iron Man suits, and we flew around and we stopped bad guys. Now, those Iron Man suits, oh no, you can't see those because see, this is a new level. All right, This is a new level. You don't have to see that suit. All right, but I'm just letting you know, we were stopping bad guys, flying around.
Yeah, you know, I mean, when I was a kid, I used to think 15 minutes to boil an egg was forever. God, I'm gonna starve. I'm so hungry, you know. And now I look up and I'm like, man, that was 4 hours ago. Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of having random fun with the kids, sometimes, like, you know, I'm always in my truck. Sorry, folks, I kind of live here. But my son, it also is one of the things that have always helped him calm, you know, and he loves music or different things that like he'll bounce up and down and dancing in the car when we're driving. So he'll since he's nonverbal, he'll get his pad and he'll be like, go outside or take a ride or go playground and that generally means, hey, I want to take a ride. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna play some music. I said, I'm gonna play Busta Rhymes Woo-Ha. And I'm gonna see how he responds to it. The edited version, of course, I think.
The edited version.
And he started laughing to it. And I just started grabbing him, and I just stood around, like, woo-ha! And I just grabbed him. And he's just like, all right, cool. So
you started doing the fisheye lens with him, like in the video. What's up? What? Woo-ha! Yeah.
And I'm doing this while driving the neighborhood, so I'm looking for it. So I'm just like, everything remains wrong. But still, you know, sometimes you just gotta have fun with your kids, do stupid stuff. Yeah, have to roll on the ground. Stop the roll on the ground.
You gotta be like crazy, and it's fun being crazy sometimes. Now, Solar brought up remembering. I wanted to bring up the story of the little guy's birth to see if that might bring any recollection for you guys. But I'll give you the short version. All right, so unfortunately, we had to rush to the hospital because there was an emergency. We had to rush to the hospital. And the little guy was supposed to be born in March. Okay, so born in March. Keep that in your head. So it's December. Now, I'm supposed to still have 3 more months. It's like right at the middle of December. So I'm supposed to still have a couple more months to stack them chips. All right? I'm stacking them chips because the baby comes. All right? Get to the hospital, you know, doctors doing their thing, they're reading charts, looking at blood and all kinds of stuff. And they're like, oh, the baby's gonna have to come early. And I'm like, oh, okay. So what you thinking, like February? Like, no, this week.
I was thinking more like Tuesday, Mr. Young. Tuesday.
They're like, no, we mean like this week. We're gonna have to take this baby because this baby has to come out now. So it definitely threw all of my savings type plans out the window. And you know, you're worried because, you know, now this child is going to be premature and all the the stats and this, that, and the third, and you're worried. And so he's born, and even to this day, I still think about he's born, he's in the little when you have a premature child, most of them are in like this little like incubator because they gotta stay warm and they're like super teeth. So I go and make sure Lisa's okay, Lisa's fine. I go in and I see him, and you gotta wash your hands all crazy and so they actually let me touch him, right? So the second I touch him, because I call my mom, I'm like, Mom, with him, and then let me see him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm on the phone with her, and the second I touch him, just tears just flying. And because due to certain situations, my father wasn't the most awesome father. So I'm just tears just flying. And the only thing I can think is, I just want to be a good dad. And I'm just saying that over and over again. I'm like, because you're looking at this little baby. This little baby. I mean, my hand covered like his whole, like the top of my hand was like at his neck, and my body. Yeah, my whole hand was his whole body, basically. And he was like 2 pounds and 4 ounces, something like that. So he was small. And I just remember being like, man, I just want to be a good dad. I just want to be a good dad. And like, I didn't think, there's only been like one other time where I've been that emotional, but like I touched him and just like immediately like waterworks, flew. So I think about that a lot. And I think about like, because all right, without going too far, I have a first memory of my father. And my very first memory that I can remember of my father, not great. So I think about that a lot. I think about like, what is, when do memories start? How far good, what will his first memory be? Will it be good? I want it to be good. I want his first memory, like those type of things, they like, they kind of, maybe not bother me, but I definitely think about it a lot. And not because I'm like, oh, well, I just want to be a good dad, so I can like stunt on all the bad dads. But no, it's like, because
now that's the pre-birth thought right there. That's I'm gonna show y'all how this is done. And then as soon as you have that real father moment, it's like, I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to mess them up. I don't. Yeah. Oh man, how am I? Oh man. So yeah, but continue. I get you.
Yeah, it's so I think about that a lot this year because as a 4-year-old, I'm like, okay, I don't know exactly when, but I'm sure somewhere around this time is maybe when you can start remembering the first. And like, I don't want his first memories to just be horrible. And even if it is, I want it to be counterbalanced with like fun stuff and good, because you want to be a good dad. And when I say good dad, not meaning like let him get away with everything, but just like like when he thinks of you when he's older, when he's 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, to be like, what, dad held me down, like that kind of like that kind of thing. And it's like that kind of drives me to a certain degree, is just trying to be a good dad, be a good husband, that kind of thing, and hopefully not screw up. That's probably the second thing this year, besides trying to work on that patience, is like not screw it up.
The great motivator. And I agree with you about those memories, man. Like, I have to realize, I try not to want to be an authority figure all the time. Like, yeah, I know I smile a lot, but I can be a strict person, like, do the smile. So, regardless of, I smile for TV. Don't believe it.
Like, this is for TV, y'all.
This is for TV.
I think that's part of our culture, though, because the way our dads, or in my case, my mom, be like, "Oh no, I'm gonna go home and beat my child." That's just what's gonna happen.
Oh, don't worry, he's fine.
Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah,
I'm gonna tear him up when we get home.
And it's like, Mom, you're joking. No, like, man.
But the most awesome thing that there's been several things through the years of a 10-year-old child who needs you for not in the normal case. Like I said, he talks with his iPad when he wants to say things. But there's something that really touched me that this year. They put your picture in this program or, pictures of things, and you hit it, the word will say what. So now he actually will say, he'll ask for me when he's ready to go. He'll be like, Dad. He'll be Dad. And he can't, he cannot physically say Dad. So this is kind of like the first year where he's really kind of have the grasp. I ain't gonna say he didn't have the grasp, but he can verbalize it in his way to say Dad. And for y'all who don't understand, that is such a wonderful thing too. I never heard it, but I have to understand this is me hearing it. And this is something I have not been able to hear for a decade. I have not been able to hear him say those words since he's been born. So, for those who do not understand what you have and what you're blessed to have, don't take it for granted. I have to not say use my imagination, but it is a little bit different when you have to be the voice for your child and hope the best for his voice. But and it's like, I always been told, my wife would say, oh, you talk a lot. You gonna go run your mouth now or whatever. I say, all right, man, I'm sorry, I'm a filthy podcaster. But, but it's just kind of funny because, I used to get, when teachers used to pinch you back in first grade and, get away with it, I used to talk a lot. I don't know what I was talking about, but I was talking about something. But go pick, using your voice for something that's very important, for your family and to get your voice out there. And, it is what it is. So there's just different levels to it. And there's just things that you're just going to sit back and be like, yeah, give yourself a hand clap because maybe nobody else will. Maybe your family won't. Not saying those close to you, but even like your cousins or your aunties or your uncles may not understand what you're going through. And yes, our family, Black people, we have a community and all that, but everybody do have their own issues and whatever. It's just cutting people some slack. Some fathers are going through it, but yes, imprinting those memories are important because my father worked in Exxon. He worked at Exxon before Exxon was here in Baton Rouge. He had his middle finger, or this finger right here, lost in the plant, half of it. No, for as long as I can remember, he's had half. That finger's been gone. Did my dad quit working? No, he kept going. I like. First of all, I don't know how the hell you keep. If I lose a finger at a job, I don't think I'm coming back. But it's
like, look, somebody got to call OSHA or something.
Yeah, OSHA. What's that?
Bruh, it was the 80s and the 90s. That wasn't an option.
My dad got that retirement, and he retired on time, and did those things. But what I will remember from him though, and kind of tied into, a little bit of fandom here. My dad never he'll joke and laugh, but his default setting is like gruff, just like just like glasses, the big Coke bottle glasses, and just gruff. And he'll say stuff like, "I look like charcoal," because he was dark, man. But I was just like, "Dad, don't call yourself charcoal." But I was like, but he grew, but he was 94 when he died. But he did love Popeye and Bugs Bunny cartoons, and that made him laugh. Stuff like that. He's like, and he would just, to see him genuinely happy when you see something like that. And you don't know, he don't never talk about all the bad old days, like, living through the thick of Jim Crow. But, it gave me a perspective. And even my story is a little bit different from a lot of people my own age, because I, again, grew up with an older person in a more close to a rural area, but just a couple of miles away from the city. So it's just a different upbringing. So those things, it's just those things that you got to cherish. But I'm going to say this and I'm going to shut up a little bit. But my dad, one of the memories that I have of my father, he always said this. He's like, my goal is to teach you wisdom and for my word to carry with you. If my word carries with you and that do that, and I do that part, then I've done my job. You know, and he always said, you ain't gotta like me. You know, I would love that you love me, but you're gonna respect me.
Yeah, this sounds about right.
It actually doesn't sound like you had a dad. It sounds more like you had a pops.
No,
because on one level, it's like, yeah, boy, go do that. I got to go to work. Well,
but my dad said if you called him pops, he was offended if you called him pops.
Gotcha.
You called him dad, father, or Mr. Cooper.
Ah, yes.
Pops, he felt like pops was like people like around our way, I guess, were like shady, no good people, or that was disrespect. Like,
gotcha.
He was a deacon, so like you don't call him pops.
So you call him sir. Got it.
But yeah, like even now, I'm the biggest thing is like we were talking a little bit offline is the mentorship. Like now, because my mother remarried when I was 10, something like that. 9, 10, something like that. So he, my dad or Robert kind of became my dad sort of over time. And the funny thing is when they were dating, I was telling Lisa this story, when they were dating, I couldn't stand Bobby. I could not stand him. And they had some Bobby drove 18-wheeler. So basically he would get up Monday morning, he would go out, and he would be back Friday night. And I remember they had some kind of thing between them and they weren't dating no more. And my mom went to date some other man, like, I don't know, a month or whatever later. And I called Bobby and I was like, we don't like him. Talk about me and my little brother. We're like, we don't like him. You need to come back. And they still laugh about
you went
that.
through the after school special moment.
But I straight told
you're not my real dad.
I was like,
then the new guy comes around. You're like, I miss you, real dad.
He's like, nah, you gotta come back. Look, you know what? We didn't like you, but you know what? We have put your application under review once again. But I say that because when I first moved out to LA, I moved here when I was like I was 28 when I moved out here, and I remember calling him and just being like, "Thank you, you were right." And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Well, you know, when I was younger, all those knuckleheaded boys you told me not to hang around, and you wouldn't let me go hang with them and stuff like that. The first time I went home from Los Angeles, first time I went back, and some even before I came out here, dead, in jail, or in dead-end situations. And those are the boys that he told me stay away from them. But I knew everything. You just hating on me. You just hating on me. You ain't gonna let me live.
I'm gonna ask you this real quick. When you go back and you go back to the old neighborhood or area, whatever, them same cats, if they are still available and present, you can just feel the hateful energy radiating off of them. Yeah. Because they never moved their life and they looking at you like you a sucker. Like, nah, I'd be like, pull off.
And especially with me moving to LA, I became Hollywood or Mr. Hollywood or I'm too good for everyone. Like that's but those guys especially, they, you
know how they do us, the good people who left. And I told you that my boy Osahan Aribo moved to DC, was an A student, all that good stuff. Just because he ain't around, people was like, "Hey, is Osahan even alive?" He moved, fool.
He's not dead. He moved.
I had people thought I was gonna be still around the neighborhood, jobless, whatever. Like, no, I moved right the day after I graduated. I had a federal job waiting on me to go get the hell out of there where I was at. We used to have a tree by the sweet shop, and we called it the unemployment tree. And look, I'm gonna keep this PG, y'all. Women don't like unemployed brothers, so I had some motivation when I was young. I'm gonna leave it at that because we being PG. But if you want to listen to an older black man today, children, kids, brothers,
Youngsters. Yeah.
Don't hang with the brothers at the unemployment tree.
Yeah,
They're trying to literal crabs in the barrel.
And that barrel has a fire in it because they hanging out at that tree at like 1 or 2 in the morning. So I had to tell him. I had to tell him thank you. I had to thank him for that. See, it was a little different for me because, you know, growing up in the hood at the time when Hollywood was making movies about the hood. You know, that's my time. All right. And I grew up on a good block. All right. And I will say that because most of the people I was hanging with when I was growing up, they got PhDs, they got masters, you know, the ones who had to go home went home because the economy crashed, not because they were out there messing up. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have our knuckleheads, all right? But the few knuckleheads we had were living with their grandparents on the block. So they would be knuckleheads out there until grandmama came on the porch and started yelling their name so loud you could hear it all the way down the block. Then it went from no grandmama. And but the thing is, and this was, now I didn't grow up with my father around. All right. My mom had to be both mother and father and reminded me all the time, I cannot teach you how to be a black man, especially with the future that is coming. I am not a black man. I have never been a black boy. But what you have to do is learn this for yourself, and I'll guide you as best as I can. But you got to not forget, in case you have sons someday, you're going to have to teach them how to be a black man. But since I can't teach you how, and I don't know what it's like to be one, I'll help you be the type of man that you want around and that I want you to have around. And I will tell you, that was some work. And yes, she got a present in June too, you know, just because it kept her off my back. But you was right, because I left the hood. I ran away when I was young. I literally ran off with the circus, and they're like, oh, he's out there adventuring, he's out making movies, he's out doing all this stuff, because I was that kid on the block. And now I go home and everybody thinks I'm far more successful than I am. But yeah, those brothers that was, you know, you had the unemployment tree, I had the liquor store, and half of them ain't here no more.
Oh man, the unemployment tree was the liquor store, the hood, you know, soapbox, the slap box ring. You know, it was the dog fighting area. You know, it was a little bit of everything. You know, drugs is close by. You know, the dope man was right next to it. One of the dope man and lived by. You know, so it was, it had things. And he go
stuff.
But see,
the big thing with the double rim. You know, she's called double rim.
Oh, I used to hate the double rim, man.
Yeah, the big thing I've learned about fatherhood, though, is that it's always the long game. You know, it's the immediate catastrophe that cannot wait, and the long game, the longest of the game. You know.
Yeah.
In my family, we got the tradition of you raise your children to leave you because you are not promised, and that is what the women said. The men couldn't say that because half of them were in jail, a third of them were dead, and the rest of them were working. You know, I think the two in my family are now preachers because, you know, I call it hedging their bets, but that's a different conversation. But being a father, especially being a black father in the 21st century, you know, we're facing challenges that no fathers have had before. You know, not to say that the world has not changed, all right, but the men in my family grew up in Texas and Louisiana in the 60s and the 70s.
Oh, well, yeah.
And it's like, you know, sorry, Uncle Ed, that chauvinism don't fly nowadays. Nobody makes enough money for her to stay home and just cook. You know, she got to get a job.
Nobody, unless you are, and put it like this, even if you do make that kind of money, and I ain't saying, you know, I ain't knocking nobody's situation, so don't at me. I'm just saying, for how you want to live. I ain't gonna go too deep in finances. You got to be real with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gotta listen to that BS from men or women. It's about what you want to achieve, and nobody ain't got to know but Uncle Sam and the Lord. Don't
I'll say
Sam
too,
and maybe not Uncle Sam. Let's be real about it.
If you play it right, but still, since we're on TV, you gotta. The government will know, wink, wink, what you make.
Yes.
And the Lord.
Yeah.
So,
and
even if you don't believe, he knows. But still.
And just science and technology has moved further, and every generation. And I knew this as a child, and I learned this day after day as a father to this day. And y'all, my kid is grown and has a better job than I do. That our kids are smarter than we are. It's not intelligence that keeps us in the parental role. It is wisdom.
Yes.
You know, they know a lot more, but we know what to do with it. And that's our job.
Now,
is to show them what to do with it.
Real quick, I'll say this, because going off the thing with Keith with the finances, yes, you got to figure out what you want to do, because I was like 30, I was making like 35 when the little guy was born. But we had decided we ain't taking him to nobody else's place so he can be mistreated, and they can cut off his hair, and they can beat him up, and they can take his lunch and do this, that, and the third, because he's the black kid there. So we made our decision and made our choice to do what needed to be done, regardless of the finances, so that we can be here with our child. So it can be done. Now, I know, you are not going to be able to go jet skiing in Hawaii, all right? But it can be done.
Is that why you need to meet with me down by the docks, bro?
Because I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, well, you don't even make enough money for it. No, it can be done. Now, at the same time, I have to cook at home. But what's more important, your lifestyle or the protection and upbringing of your child, so that they're actually protected and you can know who's teaching them and who's rearing them? Because I mean, like you said, we're in a different time, and you look at these schools every day. And this is a whole nother discussion. But you look at these schools every day. Look at the local stories around the nation. They are mistreating black children from coast to coast. But that's a whole nother.
Take it from somebody who went to white schools. It ain't new.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not saying it's new. I'm saying it's intensifying.
It is not more intense. It's just you're hearing about it more.
And I'll piggyback off of something you said, like, you know, my situation a little different. But something that you're gonna do as a husband, you know, and as a parent, you know, thank God for my wife. You know, we don't argue about a lot of stuff. It ain't like just I'm getting blindsided. But my wife told me this. And she was serious about this. Now, because I had some issues with my career. I did finance about 11, 12 or some years. It was burning me out. I done had people lie on me and all that other stuff. Different story. But she like, all right. She like, you have got all, because I used to travel, do bank examine and all that. And I left when we got married. Before we got married, I got a job here. She like, all right, I want a house. And she like, I'm gonna help with that, but I want a house before we have a kid. I said, I do too. So we made that decision. I had to liquidate assets that I had from other job. I had to come up with a plan. I tricked it. Like, I had good credit, but I tricked the bank by liquidating those assets to show zero and all that to be pristine. And it still took some help. And it took a financial economic crash recession and planning together is so important, and to plan for this but also I give her credit for this. I had a dirt cheap apartment. It was raggedy. It was terrible. Had roaches, all that stuff. But I could afford it easily to come up. My wife, she moved in there with me. I said, you doing this, it's gonna lead to what you really want. And I tell all the time, and she always like, you had me in that nasty apartment. I said, but you sacrificed for about a couple of years too, and you moved straight to the house that you liked. So those sometimes you're just gonna make a decision financially as a parent, especially as a Black parent.
Yeah, long game, man.
You got the long game.
Yeah.
And like
You know.
I tune out that BS when especially on social media, people like act like being a parent is easy. Being like a parent is affordable. People like kids don't cost that much. I'd be like, shut up. Shut up. You don't know nothing.
I'd just be like, all right, cool, help me pay for mine. And then they'd be like, oh, well, see that they're not my kids. See that yet.
And look, and all you super smart people, we're smart. These gentlemen on this panel is very smart. But if you do not have a kid and you just the favorite uncle and auntie and all that, shut up. You ain't paying for nobody's kid. Day out. I can't stand people like that. And like, I ain't even got to talk about outside of the community. I can just talk about the people who get up there on that funky blue app called Facebook or Twitter and just get up there and be like, you parents of these dead. I'm like something I get it. We don't need to maim our kids. Don't be judging me. I like but still at the same time, don't be judging me, period. You know, if my kid loves me, come and hug me and smile in my face, then I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
So,
but I do want to say something out there to the other Black fathers as well, specifically to our Black fathers. Now, this applies to every father, but it applies to us a little more. All right? You're not weak. Everybody needs help, bro.
yes.
I know we got to show that we strong and we can't see our kids, or we can't let our kids see us break down. Let that go. Let it go. Because one, your kids know. All right. And if they see you break down and you can sit down with them and be like, this ain't you. This is the world, kid. You know, look, kiddo, I ain't mad at you. I don't not love you. I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. And it doesn't take away their childhood, but too many of us Black men, and I'm middle-aged. I think I'm the oldest person on this panel. And I can tell you, I know our people, we as men, have a huge set of injuries based on the idea that vulnerability equals weakness. Weakness will be exploited. Therefore, we have to hide it at all moments. Facts. We do have to hide it in the workplace. In a lot of places, we got to hide it in public because people will call the cops on us if we're crying in public. Come to my channel. I'll explain why. All right. But at all times, nah, son. Nah. Your kids, I tell people all the time, not that I'm telling people how to raise their kids or anything like that, but I'm like, your kids are smarter than you think. They see everything. And if you don't believe that they see everything, watch them. And you'll be like, where'd they learn how to do that? Oh man, I did that 3 weeks ago. Where'd they learn that? They heard me on the phone. They see everything. And
you ain't lied on that.
Of course I ain't lying. All right.
One of the best things my son ever did for me, and it was like probably one of my darkest days, when my brother passed away a year after my dad passed away. And I could accept it with my dad because he was an older gentleman. My brother, I'm sitting there looking at him in the casket. You know, I'm low key looking at myself, and I just start to lose it. My son, who couldn't, whatever, he just grabbed me by the hand and he pulled me out of there. I didn't go back in, and I just sat. We held each other, and I am thankful and grateful for that.
Yeah. So seriously, they see everything and it's our job to make them understand, but they can't understand. We can't show them how to understand what we don't show them. It ain't about being strong. At least it's not about, I separate things between strong and tough. All right. Strong is your ability to lift and carry. Tough is your ability to endure.
Endurance.
And all of us think that if we show that we don't have endurance, then we're weak. We have no structural integrity. And it's like, nah, man. You know, we have to.
And
teach
it does
our
happen.
kids.
It happens. It definitely happens.
Yeah. But I'm talking about, we got this idea, if we cry once, then we're not men.
What did they say about the bamboo tree? It blows in the wind, it sways.
It bends like a reed in the wind. Yeah.
It doesn't break.
You know, and the whole thing, and even when we do break, we heal. And I was fortunate to have people in my life, specifically my mother and my great grandmother. Okay, like she died pushing 100, so she lived through history. All right, we're talking the Depression, Jim Crow, all the world wars. Like she was born in 1892, died after we invaded Iraq. All right, so we are talking. She been around. She's seen some things. Still trying to disprove a lot of the stuff that she told me. One of the things she said was a man doesn't have any damn sense until he's 40, and that's only if she's lucky. And I'm like, I know what I'm doing, old lady. No, I'm 45 now, and yeah.
Newsflash, we don't have any sense.
I'm like, all right, you got that one, but I'm gonna prove you wrong one day, Yoda. But the fact of the matter is, too many of us black men and black fathers have this idea that if we show weakness to our child, then we are teaching them weakness. But we don't show them that the definition of strength is not falling down, but getting up and still moving forward. You know, it's how hard can you get hit and get up? You know, all right, cool. You passed everything. That's great. You lost a game. Now what? Are you going to quit the sport? Are you going to go out there and train harder? Are you going to up your game? You have a hard C in a class. Do you practice? Do you study more? Do you ask questions about how you don't understand stuff? Or are you afraid to show that you don't understand because you don't want to be seen as lesser than? You know, those real lessons. You know, and too many of us black men, before we become fathers, we take the lesson from our fathers of stoic strength, which kills them early and makes us angry. You know, and you know,
I feel you on that one.
Huh?
I said I feel you on that one.
Yeah. You know, so it's like, nah, it's all right. Now, it ain't all right to cry every time you get disappointed, because sorry to tell you, you're going to get disappointed.
You'll be crying
a whole lot more than you're going to be happy, you know. But you take that pain, you recognize it, you treat it, and you keep moving forward. You don't push it down, be like, nah, I'm I. You know, I has done more damage to black men than bullets. All right. So, you know, I'm saying this especially to the new black fathers out there, because we're coming off a hard history of fathers not being around. Now we here, and we got to make sure we stay here, you know, at least until they're old enough to have kids of their own. You know, exactly. If for no other reason, we need to point and laugh going, see, I told you, you know, but yeah, and we got to do those things that not only keep us alive, but really, and this goes back to that first thing I was talking about, of those 3 things it's our responsibility to do, is to give them the tools that they need to get through this world. And knee-jerk suppression and denial of injury is not one of them tools. You know, I mean, it's not. Nah. We got to be able to endure. We got to be able to get up and keep going. But we don't live in a time where, you know, we just shut up, endure, go along to get along. You know, we have, you know,
we'll be getting bashed all the time. I'm saying that because you'll be getting bashed, or people will be attempting to bash you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the whole thing. We got to teach them how to take hits and to say, hold up, this hurts. We gonna do something different. You know, quit expecting me to be gold medal athlete with a broken leg.
But one of my favorite sayings I learned from college from I don't know if he's still here, from my management teacher, Mr. Marcel. He used to go in a circle. First thing he did, he wrote a big circle on the board. He said, what is that? And we're like, it's a circle. He's like, no. He said, it's the big O. He said, they're going to be trying to kick this all day long. Big O is your butt. He said, you need to CYA.
Mm-hmm.
Once you learn that, he said, because people are going to be coming at you to kick it all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And to be able to take the hit when your A is covered. Because, you know, child, you just don't know that you don't know. Like, you're concerned about being right. I'm concerned about being functional and effective. So, but you be right, because that's what your 20s is for, you know? Again, that's that not forgetting. Because I remember when I was 20, I was in my 20s and I was right about everything. I knew I was right. I was right. And I was right and successful in ways that people say you're supposed to. I was making $80,000 a year working in the space program. And I was out of my damn mind. I was unhappy. I was tired. I couldn't focus on stuff. I did not have a life that was worthy of the family that I wanted to create, you know, but I was right. You know, but again, you know, we never know as fathers, as parents, if the lessons sink in. We really don't. All we do is the best that we can do and hope for the best possible results. And like I said, best possible results, they live the lives that fulfill them. And if they have to get on the pole, and if they get on the pole, it's because they want to, not because they don't have any other options. You know what I'm saying? So
Gotcha.
Yeah, that.
But yeah, I think that's. I feel you. I think that's a good place to leave it. And when you say the best we can, my grandmother has a license plate that says "Best I Can," and it is just, you know, it. And like my grandfather would say, it's the honest and earnest effort every day to be better to yourself and those around you. And about the best we can. So yeah, that's it, guys. Look, weakness. Don't worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid of all that. But I'm gonna throw it to your homie from the dynamic duo of the South. Where can they find you?
Man, you can find me all over in June. I'm everywhere. I'm just joking. You can find me at www.blerd-ish.com. That's www.blerd-ish.com. The sale is going on all month. You think I wasn't going to shamelessly plug on Father's Day? Buy your daddy some stuff.
Got to.
Right now.
Buy your dad some books. Buy him some shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the website, see it, check it out. If you're in Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi to be specific, June 25th, 26th, you will see me at the Mississippi Comic Con. I'll be hanging with Gamma Ray. I'll be with other people. Yeah. Gamma gonna be there. She's gonna be dressed up as Princess Tiana, all these type of things. I'm gonna be on a panel. Shout out to the Bear and the Beard. I'm gonna be on their panel, No Toxicity in My Fandom. So we're gonna talk about these trash Star Wars fans. I already did one episode on that. I did recent episodes on me and Mark got a couple dropping. Just had a guest on. Man, it feels good to be back in the swing of podcasting. Mark had some time, between his lavish lifestyle to make time to appear. I still am joking and say, let's see if he pops up in Jackson. Let's see if he comes to me to Jackson. Will Mark Dub make that appearance? Find out.
Find out in Jackson.
The only way to find out is to tune in, huh?
Tune in. See me in Jackson.
So throw it over to Solar Greye. Say what's up.
All right, guys, you can find me over at twitch.tv/BID_P Monday through Friday at 3:00. You can also find me right here on NERDSoul, various days of the weekends, where over on my channel, we talk about nerd culture and the nerd behaviors and how they impact your life and how they can do so for the better. Think about it like your best angels can't do better. And I'm still not sure what she means about that because, again, she was old when I was born. So by the time I was cognizant, she had forgotten more than I'd learned at that point. So I'm still working it out. I'm trying to summon some angels to be like, I know you can do better than this. And I can just see them going, I'm sorry, young mages, I cannot, so, it's one of those things. But yeah, twitch.tv/BID_P. Come on down, hang with us. I'll teach you how to play role-playing games or teach you how to paint minis and do crafts and spend time with the family. Because a man that doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man. So thanks, guys.
True that. So, of course...
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Just said, yo, new fathers. Listen to what that last party said. A man who don't spend time with his family, don't raise his kids. If you're a new father and you're a homeboy like that, don't take no damn fatherly advice for him. I'm just going to say it way more directly. Seek people who are doing better than the ones you hang with.
Bruh.
I say you're a homeboy, but let's keep it real.
The 10 people that you spend the most of your time with will determine the path of your life.
If your boy is out here like Nick making babies, but he ain't got Nick money,
running them
streets, I want to move like him. Man, I want to move like him.
Yeah,
and that worked out for you.
Yeah,
just you be a good dad. Be a good dad out there.
I do daily to try and be the type of father that I wanted.
So shouts out to all the dads in the home. Shouts to all the dads that aren't in the home. If you're not in the home, look, I know you're doing your thing, and I know that's a whole nother struggle. So shouts out to y'all. Well, it shouldn't be a struggle, but I know that it can be a struggle. But that's a whole nother. It's a whole nother.
And can I throw a shout out to the dads that ain't in the house because they are working all the time? I feel you. All right.
So
I got you.
Shouts out to all y'all. You know what I'm saying? We love all y'all. Hashtag Black Dads. Until next year. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do it again. I'm trying to get some of the older men, that brought me up, but they ain't trying to see this.
Well, they don't know how to use the cameras, bro.
They ain't trying to see this.
They're like, why don't you just buy me something to drink and we can talk about that? Meet me at the barbershop, boy.
Old black men don't take pictures.
That's
how they get you. No, that's how they get you. That's how they find you. No, I ain't messing around with that.
Yeah, that's how they find you.
And if you do take a picture,
that's how
you got to be gruff.
Yeah, that's right. You want to talk to me? You just got to come on over and we talk.
You got to be
all day.
Gruffness all the time. There's no.
But no, man. I shouts out to the old school. That told me when I was real young and sat me down, looked me square in my face. Get yourself a good woman, boy. Get yourself a good woman. I'm like, I'm 12.
Before we get out of here, can I tell you the only memory of my father?
All right.
I only met my dad one time. One time in my whole life. All right. It was at Willowbrook Park on the east side of LA. I remember it clearly. Not just because it was the only time I saw my father, but it was the first time I saw a remote control helicopter. I was about 4 years old and I'm going, this is fascinating. I think I want one, and I think I want to ride one, And the one thing that my father said to me, other than I love you and you'll understand one day, is that your mother was a good woman, but I wasn't ready for that. And don't hate her for me not being there. And I'm like, I hate you. Why don't you come around? And he was like, maybe one day you'll understand. And the fact of the matter is I did. I did understand eventually. So I have no ill will toward my father. But find yourself a good woman. A good woman will make or break any man. The Trojan War started over the love of a woman. All right. Yeah. But empires.
Will we say that was love, or was that a little bit of lust?
Whatever. But I will tell you this:
economics.
It was a woman that made England strong enough to conquer the planet. All right. I'm talking about Elizabeth I. All right.
I mean, she was cute and all, but they wanted some land.
You're talking Helen.
The land, the thing you can't get more of.
So get yourself a good woman. And if you don't think you know any good women, or if you know a good woman and she don't want you, that's a hint and a half to get better. All right. Because a good woman needs a good man, and the two of them will conquer the world. All right.
Please.
And I'm saying that because I know Jay-Z and Beyonce watching this.
Don't let. And look,
Right,
I
and
say
then-
this, and this ain't to knock any black men, but brothers, don't let middle brother destroy you.
Oh yeah.
Like you can be angry, sometimes, but the brother who just unemployment
Don't
tree,
let him get you.
unemployment tree, crabs in the barrel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nah,
don't let him get you.
Don't let him get you.
No, make yourself Jay-Z and Beyonce. Better yet, make yourself Lawrence and Gina. All right, Lawrence Fishburne, Gina Torres, or
You know what?
LeVar and his wife, the Burtons. You know,
Just don't screw up out here.
yeah.
Just
Yeah,
don't mess
you know
up.
what?
I always,
That's
like
it.
I
That's
said-
it. That's all you
Yeah.
have to do. Don't
Yeah.
screw up. That's how we're going to
Don't
end
screw
it.
up.
Don't screw up.
Yeah, like I said, be the father that you wanted, and be the father that you wanted, and be the man you want your child to marry. If you can do those two things, you're on the right track. And if you don't know how to do it, just sit down and think about it and be honest. You know, that's that whole thing. And that honesty is big. You can't expect your kid not to lie to you if you lie to yourself and lie to them too.
Man, that's true. So, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, podcast, all that jazz. We got a backlog of stuff. Stuff is coming. Look, thank you guys for doing what you do, for buying the toys, or providing the discipline, or taking the walks, or taking the rides, or teaching how to ride the bike, or whatever you're doing. Dad stuff, all right? Even if you're just going around the house, tightening all the door handles. It's dad stuff, all right? This is what we doing. And I know, don't come in here and the roads and stop it, all right? I get it. I know. I get it. But some things are just in us, and we got, you know what I'm saying? We got to tighten up the door handle. All right? We got to do that.
Sometimes you gotta bite slam the hell out your kid.
But then hug them a little bit later, like, you know, I still love you, but
Bear hugs
I
on
had to body slam.
Hey,
So anyway,
You know
guys.
the love in them.
our real payment are the dad jokes.
Yes.
All right.
But thank you guys for rolling through. From us to you, thank you for watching. Until next year, peace.
Peace.
Mm.
Enjoy those
Yeah.
bear hugs.
I love the crap
What
out
up,
of you,
what up?
kid, and you don't got to say it back.